A busy week in Washington, D.C. with a scheduled vote on one of President Joe Biden's key agenda items, infrastructure. Take a look.
We should be united in one thing: passage of the bipartisan infrastructure framework, which we shook hands on.
And joining us to talk about that and much more are Congressman Darren LaHood, a Republican from Dunlap near Peoria, and Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy, a Democrat from Schaumburg. Welcome both of you back to Chicago tonight. Congressman Krishnamurthy, $1 billion infrastructure negotiations. The votes could begin in the Senate tomorrow. Republicans are saying, hold up, there are still sticking points. What are the sticking points at this point?
Well, thank you so much. It's nice to be on with Congressman LaHood, who represents my hometown of Peoria. I think the sticking points probably boil down to what's going to be included in terms of the types of infrastructure, and then how do you pay for it? But I feel confident that there's a lot of momentum for getting this done, and I'm really looking forward to seeing the bipartisan package emerge. And quite frankly, my constituents are demanding such a package as well.
Congressman LaHood, still unresolved, as Congressman Krishnamurthy said, is how to pay for this. About $579 billion in new spending. The two parties are differing on this. How should it be paid for?
Well, listen, I give a lot of credit to the bipartisan group of senators that have been working on this with President Biden and his team. They've been going at it for 7 weeks now, and they've made a lot of progress. And by the way, it's great to be on with you and your viewers, and along with my friend, Congressman Krishnamurthy. We have to get infrastructure done. And listen, I think we're kind of in the red zone now. We're not in the end zone by any means, but there are important things on pay fors. How you're going to pay for this is a big part of that, and working out those details. But I remain optimistic. The negotiators have been making a lot of progress, and a $1 trillion bill that fixes up our roads and our bridges and our airports and our rail systems is something that is essential for our country. You don't have to drive far in Illinois to worry about your car getting a flat tire. We need to invest in infrastructure. And again, I want to see the process play out in the Senate. That's what they're doing. That's part of legislating. We may need a couple extra days to do that, but I'm hopeful and optimistic they can get it done.
So both of you in favor of infrastructure spending, but where do you differ on how to pay for this? Congressman Krishnamurthy, what is the revenue source, or what are the revenue sources?
Well, I think that, just one example, I believe that all corporations should pay taxes. I was a small business person. I paid the full 35% corporate income tax rate when it was at that level. I don't think that we should go back to 35% by any stretch. However, what I do think is that every corporation should pay something. There should be a minimum corporate tax rate. Unfortunately, 75 of the Fortune 500 companies don't pay a dime. And so that's one source. And then we also should work with our global partners to make sure that nobody's able to shift profits overseas and escape American tax laws in the process. But I'm sure there are other places as well. I think that the IRS should get resources to enforce tax fairness and our tax laws. Unfortunately, a lot of folks don't pay their taxes and are able to dodge. And I think that the IRS should have the resources to enforce the laws to make sure they don't get away with that.
And as I understand, Republicans in the Senate have been opposed to those sources of revenue. Congressman LaHood, do you agree with those, or are there other sources you would prefer to see?
Well, if you look at the framework for the bipartisan bill, that's $1 trillion in the Senate, it doesn't significantly raise taxes. About half of it, about $450 billion, is leftover COVID money. That's a good thing. And then the remaining $550 to $600 billion is part of what the process that they're going through now, but it does not raise the business tax rate on working families and small businesses. Frankly, I think coming out of a pandemic, I don't think we should be looking at raising taxes. Let's get the economy back on track before we think about doing that. But, the original Biden plan looked at raising taxes on corporate gain or capital gains and making that retroactive, looking at changing stepped up basis, which would affect many of my family owned farmers. Remember, ag is the #1 industry in the state of Illinois. The changing of the 1031 like-kind exchange would have a significant effect on selling homes and selling commercial properties. So I think most Republicans believe we ought to take a pause. And again, I go back to the bipartisan bill that's negotiated in the Senate. There are some user fees on there, but I think if you use the airport, you ought to pay a fee. If you use the rail system, you ought to pay a fee. So the user fee type of mechanism that's in there, I think is a positive and a good one. So I think the Senate bill generally is on track in terms of raising the appropriate revenue and using the leftover COVID funds.
All right, I want to move on to some of these federal voting rights bills. Congressman Krishnamurthy, they have passed the House these two bills, the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, and then the other voting rights bill that would be a counter to some of these state laws that are being considered or passed. Senator Durbin was on this show saying these two voting rights bills are not going to go anywhere in the Senate. Is that it then?
I hope not. I'm an author of some of the provisions of what's called H.R. 1. It's also called S1. And I'm very concerned that some of these provisions, whether it boils down to ending voter suppression or getting dark money out of our election system, which, by the way, when I talk to Republicans and Democrats, a lot of them agree with me on, or encouraging student voting, which are the provisions that I've authored. I hope that we can get them through. All that being said, I am hopeful that Joe Manchin, among others, is working on legislation with regard to the John Lewis Voting Rights Act, provisions of it that could survive a filibuster and get through the Senate. I think it's so important that we enable people to vote. This is, as you know, is a civic duty, but oftentimes there's a lot standing in the way of that. And we have to avoid anything that could suppress the vote, which is what I fear is happening in a lot of southern states. And, that's something that we have to prevent.
And Congressman LaHood, this doesn't necessarily apply to Illinois, which has different voting standards, but some of the more controversial elements of these voter bills in Republican-led states are provisions that would take away the authority to administer elections from election authorities or give partisan legislatures the power to appoint people midstream. Should citizens be concerned that that could lead to partisan legislatures overthrowing election results that they simply don't like?
Well, I will say this. When I talk to constituents in my district across central and west central Illinois, they don't want to have a federalized election system. They don't believe that having the system that's the same as California, where you have ballot harvesting, where you have a different set of laws than are in Illinois right now. I think Illinois has a pretty good model, but I'm also a big believer in states' rights, and states ought to decide the voting system. Wyoming is different from Illinois. California is different from Florida. And when I look at H.R. 1, which would federalize our elections and have one standard across all 50 states, I think that goes against the Constitution and in leaving it up to the states to make that decision. Secondarily, if you look at a number of these states that are implementing voter IDs that are required for voting in elections, 80% of the public supports that in polling. And you've already started seeing Joe Manchin supports that, having an ID to vote. So I remain open-minded on some provisions that we can agree on in a bipartisan way to help fix our voting system. But I'm not in favor of nationalizing our election system.
So there might be some kind of bipartisan legislation, at least in terms of aspects of voting. We're going to have to leave it there for now. And we'll be joined again by the Congress members to discuss the spike in COVID-19 and more. But for now, our thanks to Congressman Darren LaHood and Congressman Raja Krishnamurthy.